Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. It's Teresa here with a hybrid Disney scrapbook layout for you. Today I'm working with the Kellybell Designs Passport to China digital collection to create this hybrid layout. And so as you've guessed, we're going to China today to the China Pavilion at Epcot. And so I have a story from 2012 that I'm using photos from 2019 for. And the reason is because I don't have specific photos of the story that I'm telling, but the story reminds me, and this area in the park reminds me of this story. And so I wanted to call that out because I wanted to say that it's okay to use photos from a different year to document a story that you have in your mind that you want to tell. And so I've started, as you can see, I've printed 3 photos and then some of the elements and word art from the Passport to China collection. I also have my background. There are 3 pattern papers layered onto the background. And then, of course, my favorite, my plate of embellishments here, plus a journaling card. And so let's go ahead and dive into the process. So I'm starting out here. I'm going to lay out sort of how I have things planned for this layout before I begin gluing things down. And so the windows, look at these gorgeous windows. They sort of form a home base for 2 of the photos. And then notice how I have those staggered on the page. And so sort of creating a halfway line, a vertical halfway line, but not really. But then when I add the blue pagoda, it sort of becomes a little bit more obvious again. And then notice how the 2 photos offset or balance the main photo and the journal card on the left-hand side. And then the title itself, Welcome to China, is offset or balanced by the pagoda fence, I guess, or the pagoda entrance, die cut there at the top left. And so all of this is working to create the home base for this page. And so I mentioned how I'm telling a story from 2012, and what happened was when we went to Epcot in 2012 and our kids were still pretty little, I don't know, 10, 9, 8, River was, I don't even think that River was maybe 5, or 6 or something like that. So they were pretty little. And when we passed by the little kiosk here at the beginning of the China Pavilion, they have those string puppets and they're furry little animals, and they have the long, really long limbs, and you use the wood piece at the top. They loved those, and every kid picked one out, took one home, and let me tell you, for years they played with those string puppets. And when we were, I don't know, quite a few years later, when we were cleaning out River's room to, sort of update the bedding and things like that, their string puppet was still at the end of their bed. And so that's the story of the string puppets that I'm telling here, and using photos from 2019 to tell this story. And this is a great way to incorporate previous stories, and just we do this all the time. What do these photos remind you of? And that's a great prompt when you're looking at a set of photos and wondering how to begin documenting, or what story do you want to tell? That's the first question that you can ask yourself is, what do these photos remind you of? And you may actually come up with a whole list of stories that you can tell from one set of photos. So here's how the rest of the layout is going down. I went ahead and glued down the photos on top of those windows. Check out the cute little panda poking out up top there. The blue pagoda here, which is kind of a center point from which everything radiates. I've popped that up on pop dots, and also popped up the title to go over, to sort of overlap that a little bit. And then the fun begins of embellishing the layout. Check out that adorable dragon. I just had to include him. He is in quite a stark contrast to the soft, cuddly panda. But I get the feeling that in Chinese culture, the dragons may not always be something to fear. I'm not sure of that. But I'm making him a friendly dragon here on this page. I'm just tucking some of the word art and word strips there underneath the title, adding more words, adding the date there, and also check out how the date as printed words they offset the journaling as printed words on the other side of the layout. So constantly reinventing this idea of what you do on one side, echo on the other side, repeat on the other side, balance out on the other side. And all of this, when you look at this, the only clue that you get to the center dividing line is the fact that that blue pagoda is right there in the center of the layout, but your eye is quickly moved around the layout because, of course, you want to take in all the details. I think particularly it leads you down to the title so that you can see pretty quickly, here's where we are. Here's where we are in the Disney parks. We're at Epcot at the China Pavilion, and then around and up to the journaling. Here's what's happening. And that's a little chit chat about my page design. I like to talk about page design here in my process videos because I feel like it gives you the tools that you want for creating your own cool layouts, whether you're using digital or hybrid or physical scrapbooking products. These design ideas go with you, travel with you anywhere. And they travel with you into interior design. They travel with you to graphic design, all over the place. At any rate, the layout is complete. I hope you've enjoyed my process today. I will have a link down below for the Passport to China collection. And as always, I will see you back here again real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.